To me, I think one of the most beautiful models I made was the Mildred for AI. I mean, it was like a very adult type theme, a woman on her back, 100 feet high, But, making something like that was incredible. Actually, before that, I worked on the Fairy Tale Town, and there was some, like a part where they had all that underwater. So there are some other sculptures we did. I worked a little bit on this tail for the whale. But then a friend of mine said he was going to go off and start working on the Mildred character. And then that's just like a week before I went on it. And he did this small little version that I have that it was actually a form of the Mildred character on her back. And then I think they didn't have the time, so they end up scanning that and popping out foam versions of the character itself, and then we took that and just kind of went on with all the model making on that, and some of that was reproduced and clear materials, and there was all sorts of different materials that we used on it, and it was one of those models that slowly came into life and there's I remember even the lighting was beautiful on that. There was two. There was Mildred and another, I don't know. I only remember Mildred because I worked on it, but the other one was a beautiful model too, and it was they were all kind of doing it at the same time. They had the same kind of feel, and it was like basically a huge building. People walked in, and we saw blueprints and we saw things out, but we were like trying to think of what's going to be in there because the arm was an elevator to go up, which was kind of cool. So we were thought about what would be around that when you're looking in an elevator. How would you see it from the outside, from the inside looking out, and different things to make this thing really look like an interesting building, not just a woman. And then I'm saying that'd be so cool if we had the breasts a cocktail lounge. So there's one shot of me and Mark Siegel working on that, and we had the breastplate off, and there was like a little lounge there with a stick, and it was like a dancing. And I was like, oh, there you go. This is kind of like the feel of what they want to kind of do with this character, and it just worked with the whole environment because that's what it was, and so. I remember there was a helicopter. There was like aquatic helicopter that they used. And that was all CG, but there's some good shots of it flying around Mildred, and we were able to get because I'm always curious in seeing what the shots of what you actually see and don't see of the model. So when we get the thing done, you'll make sure this part of the model was really to a T, really nice, and stuff. And the supervisor on the project was Steve Golly. He did a fantastic job, and it was always really great working with somebody that you really respect, admire, and really look up to. And he worked on original Star Wars, so he knew a lot. So that was kind of neat being able to work with him and all these people that really put a lot into it. I did a small maquette of an ice excavation that I did for the scene where the aliens come by with the boy, and they're trying to find out what was buried in the ice. So I did a little tiny maquette of that, and actually it was funny. Dennis Mirren came by to take a look at the thing that let me know exactly what the idea they had of how this looked, because there was only that. There was all the rest was going to be CG. So I had a little concept of what they wanted, and I think we took some little blocks of ice away because it wasn't as much as he wanted, and then it was molded and casted as a concept, so they can go off of that to make some of these. The rest of the scene. And I remember the scene itself, it was really kind of like, almost like surreal, because it was very quiet. And, going through all these, like a maze of ice to see what the buildings were going to come out of. But it was actually pretty wild. I mean, the Mildred model was challenging because there was a lot of different variation of elements on that model to do. And when we were doing it, we were trying to think of what would really make the model come to life. At the same time, keeping it elegant, beautiful, and sexy. But it is a big model that has a lot of hard edges, and it was kind of just smooth and flat. And then working with Mark, we both were trying to hash out just ideas. It actually ended up being a lot of people on that model. It was just me and him for the first week or so. But that was really one of the models that had challenges. When I started thinking more, there could be even we did Planet of the Apes too, the miniatures on that, and that was all foam carving on that stuff. And foam carving is a challenge too, because once you take it away, you can glue it back, but you have to really make sure you get stuff looking right when you take it away, because it has a certain look to it, and you don't want to take too much off. So with the Abe Lincoln, we call it, for at the end of Planet of the Apes, that was a challenge. We ended up doing that 3 times, the whole thing. Or actually, it was 2.5, because they're changing it all the time, and especially the face. Tim Burton came by, which was really great to see meet Tim Burton, and get his input on what he liked. He didn't mind at all getting on his hands and knees and showing what he wanted, and this is great. And this was excellent because he was very vocal and everything, and I kind of like was able to talk to him because he I think he used to be a model maker, so it was great to have that same visual aid to talk and understand everything communication-wise. So we did that, and I think they were just doing different versions of the face that Richard worked on, and then me and Mark Siegel did the body. And I think they ended up changing the scale on that, so we did the whole thing all over again, like a month later or something, or I don't know how many weeks we worked on. But it was fine. I was like, okay, we'll just do it again, But we made it bigger, and and so. With that, knowing the schedule was getting closer, that was kind of a challenge because it was like one of those things where we needed to get done. It was kind of the end of the movie, and we wanted to make sure it looked right. And then we focused on, like I did after the body was done, I focused on the hands and feet, and Mark did some of the wrinkles and stuff to the clothes. And we kind of got that done just in a nick of time. Then we ended up, the mold shop molded it and cast it in fiberglass, and we ended up painting it. It looked great. One of the biggest things, I was pretty fortunate to start from early on, so I knew how it felt when Jurassic Park started. I was like, oh God, this is the end. It changed a lot. I think CG is a very good tool to use when you need it. And I see some directors and people who are putting the bill and wanting to make the decision. Okay, we're going to pay for this and that. Some of these guys still like practical stuff, creatures and models and whatever, and it's still being done.